Super Bowl champions.
E-A-T-L-E-S, Eagles!
Swing and a miss. Struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup. For the lead. Yes! Iverson, wow, what a fake off Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
Yo, yo, yo.
What up?
What's up, boys?
What's up,
What's
fellas?
going on?
Philadelphia, how we feeling? How are we feeling out there? What is the pulse?
Oh,
of the
man.
great Sitterly. The great Sitterly of brotherly love. Have one sip of beer and I'm already slurring.
We're flying high, boys. We're flying high.
We're flying high,
Listen.
boys.
Listen, Rich, let's show them off, right? We got big cans and big cups.
Big cans and big bumps. What's that say? Does that say fly? Eagles fly?
For,
With a Kelly
for a
Green
big-
Eagles
for a
logo?
big win.
Fancy.
Custom made. We'll get into that in a minute. But yeah,
Yeah,
Mike checking in. That's great. Don was on the show last night, the Fired Up show.
That was fun, man. That was the.
I'm really upset. I was
the
dead
Brad-
tired.
The Brad
Couldn't join
Lynch
us.
moment.
I could not join you guys. Once I get a text and it's like 7:30 and I'm like about to put the boy down, I'm like, I can't do it, man. I'm like, I can't You don't understand. Like, it takes me all day to get pumped up because it's 8:30 and I'm like ready for bed. So it takes me all day and I get pumped up. I come down, I sit in my zone, I log on, I see you two beautiful mugs, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. It amps me up. Mike, I'm sorry I let you down, brother. I'm sorry I let you down. Next time, I'm coming on. We're going to talk some shit. Me and you.
Yeah, listen, and it was funny because Dom ends up checking in from the bowling alley because Dom's in a Tuesday bowling league.
Of course he is.
So
Of
he's
course
checking
he is.
in between frames.
In between games.
Listen, I told Mike I need a Dom bowling segment at some point.
There should be like Dom at the alley, and he should like bowl and then like give a prediction and then like bowl again, like Dom strikes or something like that. That'd be good. There you go, Mike.
That sounds like a new segment.
It sounds like a good segment, and I could just see him in a nice checkered bowling shirt with some goofy shoes on,
Nice.
throwing some gutter balls. But how about that big win? How about that big win on Monday night?
You know, we all watched the game and we talked with scores and how it was going to be close and how it was going to end up, what was going to happen during the game. But I can say this without a doubt. I don't think anybody saw a final score and a complete domination that we put on the Vikings. Nobody saw that.
No, I think the analysts all had Minnesota winning the game. I don't think I saw anybody actually saying, "Oh, the Eagles are going to win this game." You know, what's the head coach's name? Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin
I think
O'Connell,
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell. Oh, he's this, he's that.
He's the guru.
Yeah, he's the guru. The Eagles don't stand a chance. Good luck covering Justin Jefferson. And I'm like, okay. I don't know what they're seeing, but okay. I'm gonna take the Eagles. I thought it would be way closer.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
I mean, listen, when
was
that
not. I loved it.
when that over comes out at 50-51, you're thinking like it's going to go back and forth. They're going to trade touchdowns. Jefferson's going to get his. Thielen might, get a couple. Dalvin Cook might, he might be able to run. Considering what you saw with DeAndre Swift in Week 1, I mean, Dalvin Cook ends the game, less than 20, at 17 yards.
Yeah.
Thielen doesn't get a reception until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 4 minutes left in the game.
And when Darius Slay is, covering Justin Jefferson, he's got more receptions than Justin Jefferson.
It
Should have
seemed like
6 picks
throughout that whole
Should have
game
been.
that neither side for the Vikings did any sort of adjustment.
No.
They gave us the whole middle of the field, and we took it, and we ran with it. We ran the ball. Hurts ran the ball. We threw the ball, but they didn't do anything different the whole game. They did not change anything. And how about our boy Kirk Cousins?
That's what I didn't understand. I'm like, everybody's saying Minnesota, but like, do you forget that Kirk Cousins is 2-9 and no, I'm sorry, 2-10, stand corrected, in primetime games? Like, he is absolutely abysmal when it's playing under the lights in the spotlight. And he looked terrible. It's not even the fact, like, I could say, like, oh, he looked good and just lost. Like, no, he should have had 6 interceptions. He threw, what, 3? Threw 3?
He threw 3. Slay dropped
5.
17 of them. Now he dropped like 1 or 2, and then one like bounced like just at his fingertips.
And I'm like, what do they see that we don't as fans? And I'm like, I thought it was gonna. I was sitting there and I'm like, before the game, I'm like, okay, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna be able to adjust? Are they gonna stop Jefferson or let Jefferson eat and stop everybody else? But let's be real, they didn't really have to do anything else. They shut Justin Jefferson out, and nobody on the Vikings stepped up. Couldn't get the run game going. And when Kirk Cousins is playing as bad as Kirk Cousins can play on Monday night, you're sitting there looking pretty. I still am worried about the defensive line. The defensive line still looks bad.
Yeah, that's the only real, question mark, I think, with this team is a consistent 4-quarter pass rush.
Yeah.
You got – Sweat had a sack, was called back for a face mask. Cox got in there, got the strip, and then Sweat got one when there was like total garbage time. But, a guy like Hassan Reddick,
who was covering Irv Smith, and then at one point I think he was lined up with Justin Jefferson in the slot.
That's a great idea.
I was like, what is Hassan Reddick? Like, what are they doing to Hassan Reddick? You're paying this guy X amount of dollars a year to blitz. And you're not blitz. Like, I'm so glad that our talent in our defensive backfield is what it is, because it's talent still outplaying coaching.
Yeah.
Like, the coaching is just terrible. Like, Gannon is still bad. Now he just has the talent. So it's going to overshadow his shortcomings. Yeah. But I don't like that. Like, I want to see.
Yeah, was that defensive performance more how good our secondary was, or was it how bad Kirk Cousins was?
Listen, I think
a little bit of both.
I think it's kind of somewhere in the middle. I think you're looking at you got elite play from Darius Slay, right? You got every dollar of what you're paying that guy on Monday night. But you also saw James Bradbury play really well, have a couple deflected passes. You saw Avonte Maddox step in front of a play.
Dude, Avonte Maddox looked good.
And he looked really good. But, like, the guy that I want to talk about was a guy that I thought was going to have my key play of the game, right? Jordan Davis, he has another game where he has, like, I think he had 21 snaps. Week 1, he had 22. Now, it doesn't burn you. Right, you're not sitting in a place where you have another 150-yard rusher where he only gets, I just don't understand what is keeping him off the field. Like, is it conditioning? Is it the playbook? There's a reason why you picked this guy where he was, because you thought he was going to be impact day one. I just don't get the scheme to not put him on the field more. And I don't need to see Hassan Reddick in coverage at all.
Ever.
We talked about that.
I mean, like what the play where Johnny Munt, right? He runs the corner out to the sideline and then cuts back in the middle of the field. And Hassan Reddick looked like he was on skates.
Yeah.
Like, you paid that guy to rush the passer. Put that dude in a position to just rush the passer. Let him be effective. Because when he can try to get at the quarterback, man, he can get where he wants on the field. It's just putting him in shitty spots where he's doing a bunch of shit that he's not good at.
Yeah. And there were times throughout the game where, he was rushing, but he was, he had the 3-point stand. His hand was down in the dirt. He needs to be standing up, and he needs to be shuffled around, and whatever gap it may be, whatever side of the field it may be, but he needs to be able to just come free.
Yeah,
That
he doesn't. You put Graham on one side, or you line him up behind Sweat, and you bring he comes behind Sweat, or he does a twist or a stunt. You got to get more creative, because that's how he's always been utilized. He's utilized, like Micah Parsons, where you can line him up everywhere, and you don't know where he's going to come from.
Yeah. I just don't understand why we're not playing the 3-4. Like we have the skill positions in it. You can put Graham as one of those rushers. Then you have Hassan Reddick, and you have TJ Edwards and Kazir White. Like, okay,
and it might also give you an opportunity to get
Hargraves.
It also might give you the opportunity to stick Nakobe Dean on the field.
Yeah, like
just stick him out there.
Yeah, I don't understand what they're doing. And then the plays where Jordan Davis was in, he was getting blocked pretty bad. But again, the kid isn't going to get better without repetition.
Not on the field. Yeah,
like he needs to be on the field. Like the fact that he's only playing 21 snaps a game is alarming. And I don't think it's him. I really don't, because you saw what the kid did in preseason. You saw the coaches raved about this kid.
But yeah.
And all of a sudden he's not playing. I think it's more of a Gannon. I think it's a Gannon thing. Like I said, Gannon still hasn't figured it out. And that's the problem that I'm having with this team. You're still seeing guys who aren't playing to their strengths, being used as coverage guys instead of pass rushers, guys who are supposed to be run stoppers, not even on the field.
Right.
And our safeties and our corners are bailing us out. To me, it just doesn't make sense. And it's the one thing that's like driving me nuts, because I'm sick of seeing it. And it's the same thing. Yeah, you're lucky Kirk Cousins sucks. You're lucky your secondary is that good. But when you play better teams, what's going to happen?
Yep.
Can you make those adjustments? And I just don't think Gannon's capable of doing that. I just don't think he's capable of getting out of his own way. And I'm glad Vic Fangio's hanging around. And hopefully Howie says, like, yo, dude, I fucking seen enough out of you, dude. Like, you're just – I don't – like, we're 2-0 and we still don't like our defensive coordinator. Like, that's insane. And it's not like we're nitpicking the nitpick. It's just like, this is the same shit we saw last week. This is the same shit This is the same shit we saw in the postseason. The same shit we saw last season.
Right.
Like, he's done nothing different except Howie gave him talent.
I was gonna say the only thing that's different
is the talent.
There's the talent. The talent's different, right?
Yeah.
And that talent is at this point almost overcoming these obstacles. I just you see that talent shine in those moments where you need to, right? You got the blocked field goal that, if not for, Aaron Sippis making that tackle.
Yeah.
That game now becomes, if they return that for a touchdown, that's now a 10-point game. And now you might start to see the momentum shift. That happens, you get a turnover, right? You get an interception. The play, I think it was late in the third quarter, where Hurts, they're running that screen play, that middle screen, where they throw that pass in the middle of, like 7-8 bodies, and it gets intercepted, and Slay comes up big again with another interception. The talent bailed out some of those mistakes, which is great, because that's a sign of a really good team where you can have the balance of maybe turning the ball over and then them getting no points out of it. The hard part is the talent is so much better that we've expected the coaching to kind of rise with it, and it just hasn't.
No.
Well, Gainwell should have caught that ball.
Yeah, for sure.
Truly, right?
He should have caught that ball, but that play they should have never called that play.
I would have never called that play. Yes, I would have never called the play.
And that
he had nowhere else to
Time-
throw it, so he did that
time-
loft, and Gainwell just was like, "Ugh." I'm like, fucking Gainwell.
Time, score, and place on the field. Like,
Yeah.
no, doesn't work.
No, I wouldn't do that. And then I'm sorry, the referees were absolutely atrocious.
Mm.
Where was the offensive pass interference on Devonta Smith?
When he was moving out of the way?
Yeah.
When he was
God,
moving
I'm
away
so-
from getting contact?
What was that?
Or the 3 ineligible receivers down the field?
Yeah. Can
And
you,
how-
can you
in one
pick
game?
something else? Can you at least switch it
Yeah.
up?
Yeah, dude, like
But
pick something else.
how about the reaction? Like the reaction from Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. At one point, they're like, I
They threw their
I
hands in the
don't-
air.
Yeah.
they're
I don't
like,
know.
I don't see it. They got every right to be mad.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it was
Joe Buck was killing me. Like, I don't like Joe Buck, but he killed me. He was like, did they just learn about this rule? Is that why they keep calling it over and over again? I was like, oh, Joe. I'm like, I usually hate you. I'm like, but that was good.
That was actually pretty good, yeah.
And then Aikman's like, Devonta, you see the wide receiver, Devonta Smith, come around. He's not even trying to touch him. He avoids contact. It's just like, what the fuck?
They're like, yeah, I don't.
That's a
even
perfectly
think,
designed and run play. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, and this guy was a cowboy. Like, and he's just like, this is kind of bad.
Yep.
Like, and I love the fact there was 2 Monday night games on, but here's what I didn't like. I didn't like the overlap. The overlap was terrible.
It was bad because of how much overlap there was.
Oh yeah. Well, the two severe like neck injuries that happened in the Buffalo game pushed that time to be way longer than what it was because Micah Hyde and the D-back Dane, they both got carted off. So that took an extra like half hour. That game was like 4 hours long. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, that game's ending at Eagles half. No, it was still on when I think the Eagles are like in the third quarter.
Man.
So like truly, I think
insane.
what they did a couple years ago on the opening nights where like that early game, that 7-ish game, is an East Coast game,
Yeah.
and then you play another one that starts at 9:45
In the
It's
West
a
Coast.
West Coast.
Yeah.
And it's a West Coast game. Like it's not rocket science. Like why did you schedule 2
East
games
Coast
that
games.
are going to be East Coast? Like, and you're canceling each other out. Like you're now creating competition where like if you had spaced them out, I probably would have had both games on at the same time.
It was just a weird
Weird
flex.
dynamic, yeah.
It just, I was like, I didn't really enjoy it. But Don, how were we in our predictions? How did we do?
I have to go back. Like mine was completely off, right? There was a big sack late in the fourth quarter, but it was a Fletcher Cox play. Jordan Davis wasn't on the field.
I'm going to look right now.
I think we were all off.
The scores, we all had scores that were like
High.
they were like 27-24. There was one, it was 31-20, 31-28. Like nobody had anything more than, I think we all had scores that were within like 4 or 5 points.
Well, nobody scored, and nobody scored after halftime. It's crazy.
And nobody scored after halftime.
Yeah, that was so
which-
cheap. I couldn't find it.
Hey,
So we were all kind of sniffing in the fact that and talk about like we were 18 minutes in and we've buried the lead in that this was probably, you could argue, Jalen Hurts' best game
Yeah.
ever, right? I didn't see, even though he played with extremely elite talent on the big stage
Hear me
at
out.
Alabama, Oklahoma, and now in Philly, you could argue that was probably
best pro game.
his best game since high school.
Hear me out. This is what we need to do. We need
I'm
to
all
get
ears.
a petition, and we're going to take the first 2 passes of the Vikings game, and we're going to send them in to Nick Sirianni. And what we're going to say to Nick Sirianni is, stop with the RPOs. Let Hurts get through his progressions, because Hurts did exactly what we were asking of him to do when he was lined up in the shotgun with, 4 wide and a tight end. He went through his reads.
Yeah.
And he threw dimes. So you're telling me, even though I love when they throw the stat up, Hurts had the longest time to throw the ball in the NFL with like 3.5 seconds. I love when they put that. Yes, he's had the longest time to throw the ball with 3.5 seconds. But he also has to take 2 seconds to decide, am I going to hand the ball off or am I going to run then pull the ball back, and then look for his one read. So I get it. He's had the longest time to hold on to the ball and to throw it. But he looks so much more comfortable throwing out of the shotgun than the RPO. And he went through his progressions.
He looked like a professional quarterback.
He looked like a professional quarterback. And
he
then
looked like a guy that if he can play like this, we can start trying to allocate those first 2-round picks, maybe on the defense, maybe
defensive line.
Right.
Definitely.
But like that, if the Saints keep shit in the bed the way that we hope that they're going to be, because they stink.
They're
right.
bad. 10 points.
If that pick, let's say that pick is hypothetically, and I'm just going to be generous, in the top 15, right? And your pick is in the late part of the first round, you now can start to think about packaging those picks and moving up in the top 5 so that you can get elite talent and add it to this defense.
Yes.
But I saw, like, Rich, and we talked about, I can't remember if it was in week 1 or in the preview, but we talked about, where he kind of dives forward and just runs, right? So he goes back, he makes his progression, and he makes that one read and then goes, right? I saw a couple of plays where he makes that read, goes back, and then steps up and moves laterally.
Yeah.
Keeps his eyes up, right? And there were a couple of plays where he doesn't tuck the ball and run, right? He moves laterally to stay behind the line of scrimmage and then looks for guys down the field. His best pass is an incompletion. The pass the pass to Goddard. Right.
Yeah.
He had another play in the flat where he slides to the right towards the Eagles sideline and hits Goddard on the sideline. Like, I saw a lot of stuff that I like, that stuff that we're looking for him to work on.
Yeah.
Right. There's a whole lot to like about what we saw. And I like that we saw progression, right? We saw, outside of that one fluky play to Gainwell, we saw a lot of really good decisions.
Agreed. Joe?
Yeah, I mean, the one play that sticks out for me, they say they don't throw the deep ball, or they don't try to hit him over the top. I mean, granted, Quez is pretty wide open, but he, his form was great, his release was great, and he got depth and air under that ball, and he put it right where he needed to put it. So you see his range, you really see his range, you really see his depth in his throws, and you really see that he can make all the throws. He proved on Monday that he can make any throw, and he could drop it in the basket like he did to AJ Brown in the Detroit game. That deep pass down the sideline the guy had him covered like glue, but he dropped it in the bucket. So, and like you said, Don, I think the fact that they didn't really do the RPO, and hopefully they really don't much going forward. So you can really see what you have.
No, I agree.
Week to week. So I mean, hey, look who we got. Look who we got coming up. It should be an interesting game this week.
That's a good transition, Joe.
To say the least.
It should be. But Joe, I want to go back to that play real quick, because there was a breakdown that I saw with Orlovsky and Ryan Clark where they broke down that play that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And the scheme of that play is brilliant, right? Because you have, you've got you've got Quez that's on the near side of the field. You've got Goddard going down the middle, and he ends up cutting across the pattern towards the Eagle sideline, but that draws the linebacker and the near safety, right? So that then leaves Harrison Smith alone, but on the opposite side of the field, right? The play is schemed beautifully because you get all of that coverage creeping up because of the respect that they had to give the run game, because of where they established Miles Sanders earlier on in the game. So you
Looks
respect
so
that. So
good.
all those guys are creeping up and towards the Eagles sideline, right? And here's Quez and he literally just slides and just glides right through, and no one touches him the entire play. He runs and he's 45 yards down the field before he even gets the ball. But it's the kind of stuff where you say that's what we want to see, because they're scheming plays to get guys in space, and you can use Devontae Smith and AJ Brown and Dallas Goedert to then make a big
They're
play
all
for Quez
Batmans,
Watkins.
man. They're all Batmans.
Oh, I loved it, Rich. I love that.
Batmans. They're all Batmans.
This team is so dynamic when the quarterback plays like he did on Monday, because you can do the short intermediate passing game. You can hit him over the top with a guy like, you can hit him over the top with Smith, Watkins, and Brown. It doesn't matter. I mean, these guys are so interchangeable. But then if you need a couple yards, or if you need you need that ground game to kick in, you've got it, because you have a top 5 offensive line.
Yeah.
That can do both: pass protect, run block, and then you add you sprinkle in the element of Jalen Hurts being able to, you got the defense has to watch out for him taking off. So there's so many different things that this offense, and it's how dynamic it is, that makes it almost unstoppable for a defense when everything's hitting on all cylinders.
I mean, you really, truly have to pick your poison.
Yeah. Death by 1,000 cuts.
I mean, this offense, you can see now, is just on a weekly basis. If they want to, they are going to be able to put up points.
Yeah.
So let's transition.
Here we
I
go.
want to know, boys, what scares you? My question is, what scares you on this Washington team? Because I was
Daniel
watching
Snyder.
being in a room,
Yeah.
being a female in a room with Daniel Snyder.
Sitting in the stands at FedEx Field.
Yeah.
Because
I
that
mean,
dude's
What's going to drip on me?
Yeah. Oh, that's poop. That's poop.
Oh, God.
Because I was watching some of that Detroit game, because obviously the Birds weren't on. And Washington looks terrible. Washington didn't score points until Detroit was like, we're going to let off the gas. And then Detroit was like, okay, we still have to keep playing because they won't go away. They're like that annoying mosquito that just keeps biting you and just keeps coming back. That's what Washington is. But, Carson throws for 380 yards because they're playing behind all game.
They were down, yeah.
They were down double-digit points for pretty much all of it. Their run game did not look good at all.
No.
And there's been no sightings of Terry McLaurin, their big paid guy.
I mean, listen, if you have to say anything, right, you have to look at their skill positions and say that if there's a potential for anything to happen, right, if Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin, or Jahan Dotson, those guys all have, I'm going to put it in air quotes, elite talent.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just not being put together. And the thing that I keep going back to is, like, when I look and match up their skill positions with the corresponding skill positions, right? If I'm looking at Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and I'm looking at Darius Slay and James Bradbury, I'm not worried about it, right? If we can do what we did last week with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson don't hold weight with,
or Curtis Samuel,
or Curtis Samuel, like Logan Thomas, like those guys are they're quality NFL talent, but they're not elite. And I don't see. I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth, but like I don't see where they score points on this defense.
Do you remember when I said in the beginning of the season what I wanted to see is this team get like over 11 interceptions? Remember when I said that?
I do. That was on the
We're at
previous show
4, bro. We're at 4
in week 2.
in
With
week
6 drops.
with 6 drops. So we could have hit my total. I'm pretty much by week 3. It's electric to see James Bradbury and Darius Slay and Gardner Johnson playing.
He's a
in this
guy I
level.
love.
And Devontae Maddox is just playing out of his mind. He made some really good plays and some great tackles. Like, there's one thing that you can't say about Avonte Maddox, and that is he doesn't tackle. Because that dude tackles. Like, I just love seeing it. I just love when a guy is around Avonte Maddox when he catches the ball because I know he's going to make the tackle. Epps, on the other hand, that motherfucker needs to learn to tackle. That dude misses way too many tackles. Like, give me some blank and shit.
There's
some dudes get rocked.
There's a lot there. I think it happens more than not where, they rely on their skill and their instincts to make a play, so they don't have to put themselves in a situation to try and lower the boom. Because I can think back the play that I think back a few years back when we played the Vikings to get to the Super Bowl. Ron Darby.
Oh yeah. Mr. I don't tackle. I'm just trying to carry you out of bounds.
Luckily, it worked out when Patrick Robinson was running down the sideline there. He got depleted.
Yeah, I miss Patrick Robinson. He was a hell of a player. Hell of a player.
Then he got hurt with the Saints, and he wasn't the same.
Oh yeah,
no, truly, yeah. And listen, Adam, you bring up a good point, right? He's still doing this. Even after being in his 3rd city in 3 years, right? Still holding on to the ball. I think the thing that is going to affect him the most is that pass rush. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to get pressure because I don't love what I see in terms of anybody on their offensive line, right? Nobody on their offensive line scares me as far as being able to stop the pass rush of the Eagles. I think you might see a blitz. I think you might see an excess amount of blitzes.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They're coming. They're coming for you, Carson.
I think they have to.
They're coming.
It's going to rely on you're going to try. It's the same thing. Like I was telling all my friends on Monday, let Kirk Cousins beat you because he can. It's the same thing. Let Carson Wentz beat you. He can. He'll try. Let these guys try to do it themselves. There are 2 quarterbacks who cannot beat you. There's only a few quarterbacks who can beat you by themselves, and they're all in the AFC. So we're okay. We're good with that.
Let them do their best Cindy Lauper.
What Carson's going to do. He's going to throw a bunch of terrible passes, and he's going to fumble the ball. So hit him hard and hit him early. And when you're on top, keep your fucking foot on their neck.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you can get up on them just like what happened on Monday night, right? And then you can shut them out in the second half like they did in this game.
Yeah.
That to me is where I look at this team. If they can do that 2 weeks in a row, right? And now you're starting to establish that defensive presence and that defensive dominance where you're not going to score any points. And 2, when you think you're going to have an opportunity to get back in this game, we're just going to take the ball away.
Yeah.
Right. Because there were a bunch of plays in that Minnesota game where they could have been momentum turners.
Yeah.
Where Minnesota had a bunch of short fields. They had a bunch of opportunities to get cheap points. And they didn't get anything. Like they didn't score.
They got turned over.
Yeah.
Yeah. That score that they had, the one lone touchdown happens early in the second quarter. So they essentially went 2.5 quarters without giving up any points.
Yeah.
I mean, Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, Rich.
No, I talked enough. Go.
Yeah. I think that it was like such a roller coaster. Quick couple plays, they blocked that field goal, and then they let the punter tackle the guy. See, he gets tackled at the 30. Sipas tackles the guy. That guy had to be so deflated to get tackled by the punter.
You know what it would have been a momentum killer or a momentum, like, I don't know, killer is a bad thing. So what do you say? Like a momentum gainer? I don't know. You know what would gain a lot of momentum if that play by Dantzler, that shoestring tackle on the sideline where he slapped Sanders. If you looked, Sanders just had to beat him, and he would have been gone. That was I'm not going to lie, Dantzler made a few really good plays, but that play would have been, an 85-yard touchdown?
Yeah.
Sanders didn't get his ankle slapped out from underneath him.
He might need to do a little bit of extra training there, Miles. He goes down rather easily.
His legs are super skinny, that's why.
Yeah. Like he needs to start working out with Jalen Hurts.
And start doing some Jalen Hurts
squats. 600 pounds.
He needs to hang out with A.J. Dillon and get those quads up.
Either that or Saquon.
Or him or Saquon. Yeah. I mean, Saquon was his teammate. But
dude,
he got his ankle slapped out from underneath him. I'm like, is that even possible? I want to dive at someone's ankle as they're doing something, try to slap them and see if it actually works. I know I'm not as strong. Dantzler was he's 170. I could probably slap somebody's ankle then. But just wanted to know. I'm like, he should have broken that tackle, and that would have been.
You could slap Miles to the ground. You probably would.
And that was I love Miles Sanders because I really think he's having, dude, some of these runs that he's ripping off are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
it's exactly what you want him to do, though, right?
I just want to see him rip off a 30-yard run. Give me one, bro. Just give me one.
So, Rich, like a couple years ago when they're playing the game that they play in Buffalo, you remember he rips off a 60+ yard run in Buffalo that puts them up by 2 scores and kind of puts the game away.
Yeah,
a play like that where you just want to see him. He finally he breaks down the barrier of not having touchdown, not having the rushing touchdown for a while.
Yeah,
right in week 1. I think the next step is him getting a break off where he can really show that breakaway speed.
Yeah.
But he's just got to trust himself. But speaking of offense, anybody on Washington's defense, anybody scare you at all?
No Chase Young, so I'm good.
And that's big.
Yeah, that's huge.
Being able to miss Chase Young, right, and then upcoming, missing not to look forward a little bit, but against Arizona, you're going to miss Hopkins too.
Yeah, but their defense is absolute dog shit.
True.
The Raiders should have won that.
Yeah, the Raiders always find a way to
beat the Raiders. Yeah. Same thing as the Browns. Find a way to be Browns.
Did you guys watch the end of that game?
I watched the end of that.
That was wild.
What the fuck was that?
I
had to tag Oscar in a bunch of Jets Joe Flacco memes.
Dude,
he probably loved these. He's the GOAT. He was texting us, dude, Joe Flacco's the GOAT. I'm like,
1:30. Yep. Cleveland's up 13.
Yep.
And they blow that game.
You know why? Because Nick Chubb scored. Only thing Nick Chubb had to do was go down.
Ryan Westbrook he didn't do it.
And he didn't. He took the touchdown to get his 3 TDs, and it cost his team the game because the Jets had no timeouts. It's fucking insane. That's insane.
It's wild. There were a bunch of games like that, right? The Miami
game.
Miami
game was bonkers.
The Ravens just forgot how to play defense, and all of a sudden left Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle wide open running down the field. And they're looking at each other
And I got waxed in my school fantasy league. I know nobody wants to talk about their own personal fantasy stuff.
I want to hear it, Don.
Rich, I was up.
That was the great news, Don.
I was up by 43 points going into Monday Night Football. Guy that I was playing, who'd he have?
Stephon Diggs.
He did. He had 45.5 points.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, I went up against that new kid in our dynasty league, Don. He put up 219 points. I got destroyed. I was like, well, you have Tua and you have Tyreek Hill and you had every single one of his players decided to shit on my team. I'm like, all right, that's fine. Man, that's good. Good for this guy. But yeah, dude, that Browns game was nuts. The Arizona game.
The Raiders were up what 20-0 in that
I
game.
think it was like 23-0, and they
Yeah.
lost 20.
That was
29. Yeah, 29-23 because of the 29-23 because they ran the
fumble.
the Renfro fumble back.
It was just a perfect. It was a perfect hit. There's nothing he could do about that.
No.
Nah, there's nothing you can do about it.
But
back
you
to
thought
Sorry.
you thought it was like, all right, well they're basically in field goal range already, so
Yeah.
Raiders going to kick a field goal and the game's going to be over. But
No.
hey, bang
Josh
plays.
Josh McDaniels, what a douchebag. But anyway, Washington.
Oh,
That defense does not scare me. Score predictions against the Commanders. I am going to go 31-10 Eagles.
any big plays?
My turning point key is going to be the Eagles are going to be up 10-0, and Miles Sanders is going to have a 66-yard touchdown run.
Okay.
Make it 17-0.
Joe, what do you got?
I think I might have put on Twitter 27-20, but now that we've talked about it a little bit, I think it's probably going to be more like 27-17. I mean, we'll cover, but I don't know. NFC East games, they can really go either way, but I guess my big play will probably be I picked Dallas Goedert to have a big game on Monday, so maybe he gets off the schneid. It gets in the end zone, so let's see a big game from Goddard. Let's go 37-yard touchdown, maybe in the third quarter.
I like it.
27-17 Eagles.
Listen, I'm going somewhere in that. I'm going to go 35-10, 38-10. I'm going to say they're going to put up points and not let up. I think they're going to want to show Carson Wentz kind of what he's missing. And to go back to something that we talked about, I think you're going to see my big prediction is not one play, but a bunch of plays. I'm going to go 4+ sacks from the Eagles defense. I'm going to go pressure. I think they're going to put some pressure on the.
Who's the lead? Who gets the game ball?
Who's the guy that made one of the biggest plays in Eagles? I'm going to go Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham gets 1.5.
Okay. I like it.
Works.
That works.
That works.
Adam gets 35-14. Hey, listen, I
Love
get
it, Adam.
that. That's cool.
Hey, I'll take it.
Hey, Rachel. What's up, Rachel? How are you?
Guys, any other fantasy stuff? Any stuff? Because
it's a weird year for fantasy, man. It's a weird year. All these top backs aren't doing shit. It's like the year of the wide receiver.
Yeah, it's all wide receiver.
It is.
It's the year of the wide receiver. Like, I don't know what's in the water with these running backs, but Jesus fucking Christ. Derrick Henry, if he didn't score a touchdown. Did you watch that play where he scored a touchdown in the Bills game? That dude on the Titans offensive line was blocking before the ball was even snapped. It was one of the Joe, did you see the play?
I missed it. No.
It was one of the worst false starts I've ever seen. He was legit blocking before the ball was even handoff. Before the ball was even snapped, and they let it go, and Derrick Henry just like walked in behind him. I'm like, yeah, that's easy to run a touchdown in. But he was like 4 for 12 with a touchdown.
My poor cousin is a diehard Titans fan.
Ooh, that's rough.
Like diehard.
Okay.
And
are they from that area? Like, is it just
no? Well,
shitty.
No, we're from upstate, like born in upstate New York. But I don't know. For some reason, he fell in love with the Titans. Like, he's legit. Like, ever since he was a kid, he was a Titans fan.
Has he been to a Titans game?
What's that?
Has he been to a Titans game?
He goes. I think he has season ticket. He lives in Nashville now.
All right, I respect.
Okay.
So he goes to the games. He goes to the practices. Like, he's all about it. But he's like, I know if I called him right now, he probably wouldn't want to talk about it. He's like, season's over. My team sucks. Burn the stadium down. Fire everybody. I've had it. and it all started to unravel when we stole his boy during the draft. So, it's like you trade away AJ Brown and you draft a guy,
the life out of him.
Treylon Burks, who's garbage. So,
I mean,
Listen, hey,
All right.
hey, Joe, I'm just going to put this in your ear for a half a second. If he wants to join us the week before they play the Titans,
that'd be cool.
maybe get
I'm
some
sure I can make
that.
It might take a lot of convincing because I think he'll instantly think that we're totally going to trash him, but we'll. I think
It's all love.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I might be able to convince him to.
That'd be fun
to come on.
I would like to thank the Tennessee Titans and the Buffalo Bills because, gentlemen, I hit my first same game parlay.
Talk about it.
And it was a 7-pick parlay.
Stop.
Wow.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I got to hear here.
It was 7. So I took, what was it? What I was scared about was when Derrick Henry scored that touchdown because I had Tennessee under 14.5 points.
Okay.
And I know my dad's like, because we watched the Eagles game, he's like, "Are you fucking stupid?" He's like, 14. I'm like, "Dad, relax." I'm like, "Relax." But the game wouldn't end. I was getting nervous.
Right.
Slow, yeah.
I took
Slow and painful.
the Bills over 20.5 points. So got that. I took Robert Woods under 49.5 yards. Got that. Took Westbrook Akine under 39.5 yards. Got that. I took Stephon Diggs anytime touchdown score. Got that. Stephon Diggs over, I think it was like 85 yards.
Ooh.
Got that. Josh Allen over 279.5 yards passing. Got that. I was sitting there and I'm like, Dad, I think I'm going to do this. But I saw when they pulled Derrick Henry and then they pulled Ryan Tannehill. I'm like, all right, that's cool. They're going to pull everybody else. And I seen Robert Woods go out there. And I'm like, you motherfucker. I'm like, get him out the game. Get him out the game. And thank God Malik Willis is equally as ass as Ryan Tannehill because he looked his way. And I'm like, thank God. And then when I saw James Cook it was like 4th down all the time, it felt like with the Bills. And then he just converted. And they just kept converting. And then finally they ran the game out. And I'm like, thank God. So it just felt good. Dude, it just feels good hitting one.
Yeah.
I understand. Like I saw T. Will had put something out. He hit the Hurts was the first score.
Nice.
He hit that, and then he hit Hurts was a multiple times.
Score. Yeah,
So
it's so hard to hit those, like, because I don't bet like a crap ton of money. That's not what I do. I do $1 or $2 bets on like things that are going to like return like $10,000. Obviously, this wasn't a $10,000 win.
On like a 27 leg parlay, right?
Yeah, and it's just like, all right, well, if I hit, I'm set for life. Well, the thing you can do is on DraftKings now, you can actually parlay to same game parlays.
Ooh.
So, and your odds are ridiculous. Like I put like $5 onto parlay because I had an Eagles one, but it was immediately destroyed when Devontae Smith I had him under, I think like 39.5 yards. And I'm like, well, but that's the thing you have to do. Like you have to like do things to get your odds up. But if that $3 or $5 I bet would have been like $170,000 because my Buffalo one hit. Imagine if the Eagles one hit. I'd be like, damn, we're paying off the house, boo boo. Paying off the house. But it's just fun, like,
That's
$2
fun.
to like whatever. And it like gives you a little more incentive to be like, oh, come on, man, come on. Like, I love it.
Listen, the way that I always think about that, Rich, you could spend $2 on worse things, right?
Spend $2 a day on an energy drink. So I'm like, all right,
Exactly.
yeah. It's not I'm not gonna get my Red Bull today. Okay. My Red Bull ain't gonna have the chance to make me 160K, baby. That's all I'm saying.
Also true. And listen, just to give some Golden Mike updates, right? Scotty from DSM is 4-0. Chip is in second place. Rich, you're in third. Nick's in fourth. I'm in fifth. Joe, you're in
Probably not
eighth,
even on the board.
No. Jay's not on the board yet. Jay is yet to register a win.
Jay has also put his whole team on the trade block.
On the block.
Already?
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
look
it's
at
pretty
if you look at the trade block the other night, and Chip wrote like LOL, so your whole team. He literally put his whole team on the block.
He loves to trade. He
But
loves.
But the problem
it.
is his team is so bad. He has like no one to trade.
No, nothing to
guys
offer.
are injured, suspended, and he's like,
everybody's hurt.
yeah. Shout out to my boy Eric in my my 10-man keeper league. He officially sets a record. He won his first 2 games last year and then lost out. So he was like 2 and I think like 24. He started off this year 0-4. My man has not won a single fantasy matchup since week 1 of last year.
In a calendar year. Holy Christmas. Good God.
Oh, but it's
That's
so
wild.
funny.
Right, but speaking of fantasy, we might have some people joining us next week.
Ooh.
I had a couple guys reach out on Twitter. They run a fantasy called Losing Sucks.
Ah, nice.
But they run a fantasy football podcast. I kind of connected with them on a couple of fantasy threads. So they might be joining us for a little bit on next Wednesday's show. Maybe
nice.
for a little segment. So
that'd be awesome.
Good
yeah,
stuff.
they do some good stuff. So it's it might be a good thing to connect with them and see if we can talk some shit.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Yo, shout out to my boy Ramos. He makes these fantastic mugs.
Wait, hold on, Rich. We gotta.
Let's put the
no
slide on. Ooh, there it is. We got the mug. We got the fly, Eagles fly. We got the Kelly. Oh, there's Don again. There's Don again. Oh, I got these beautiful mugs over here. The Eagles, the Kelly green, the giant beer steins with the fly, Eagles fly. If you are not an Eagles fan, he customizes any type of glass. He will customize for you. Low price of $20 a mug. He has the mug. He does all the printing. If you were a Raiders fan, if you want to bold up, if you're a Charger, if you want to tighten up, being a Titans fan like Joe's cousin, hit up my boy. His Instagram is RA_TORRES88. Hit him up. He does great work. $20, you get a dope mug with your team. He also does PlayStation controllers, Xbox controllers. His work is phenomenal. Check him out. Again, RA_Torres88.
We're gonna have to put it in the comments.
We are going to put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments. Well, gentlemen, we're bringing the heat, but now we got to go. Final thoughts.
Ah, yes. Go ahead,
Joe, what do you got for final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I guess we'll just talk birds. I mean, that's the hot topic in this town. That's what everybody's excited about. I mean, we are one of the best teams in the league. This team has a lot of potential if it stays healthy. And they keep hitting on all cylinders. Obviously, Jonathan Gannon is the big question mark. This defensive line is a question mark. But if they stay healthy and continue to be cohesive as a team and play more like they did against the Vikings than they did against the Lions, this team is going to be very good. And there's really no reason for them not to win the division and win at least, I mean, after that, the possibilities are endless. It's about being hot, being healthy, and just getting into the dance. Because if you're hot when it counts, anything can happen.
That's it.
Look at the Giants, 9-7, win a Super Bowl.
Beating an undefeated Patriots team, right?
Yeah.
John, go ahead.
Oh, listen, I got two things. One, the MLB continues to be the stupidest league possible.
It's the worst fucking league.
They scheduled the opening weekend of playoffs they're playing Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. So their potential series clinching games, that any of those series that go to 3 games are going to be going up in the same time slot as an NFL game, regardless of whether they play at 1, 3, 4,
Doesn't matter.
5, 6, 7. It doesn't matter. And listen, the NFL has basically said, forget you all, right? At one point, they were like, the NBA, you can have Christmas. The last couple of years, when they had the opportunity to run games on Christmas, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, they were like, fuck it, we got this.
Yeah.
Sorry, NBA, but if they want to watch the NFL, they're going to watch the NFL. So that was stupid, right? How do you not have you have the opportunity to put your game in the spotlight, and then you're going to put it where it's going to be on a third device at best. The positive note for final thoughts, we have the best sports city in the country. To see the support from the other athletes in this city at every level, right? Like at the Eagles game, right? You see Bryce Harper sitting on the field. You see Stott and Hoskins were in a box. James Harden is sitting on the field. Bradley Cooper's there. Questlove is there. Quinta Brunson, who's on the Abbott Elementary, right? Like you had the stars come out to support this city. You saw the Flyers, as sucky as they are, right? They were over at Citizens Bank Park taking batting practice with the Phillies. They all come out. They always come out and they support each other, which is great, right? You always see the guys that are sitting courtside at the Sixers games. I just love the sports city, man. Not only from a fan perspective, but that you see that there are players that get it.
Yep.
I like
it's huge. It's huge. It's
absolutely.
Just to feed off that, Don, it's such a great feeling. I mean, we really are. You feel like you're part of the team. You feel like you're part of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just get so locked in to whatever sport you're watching, and being able to talk about it with you guys and go do this once a week. I mean, I would do this every day, all day if I could, but
right?
It's you don't realize it. And me being kind of like a transplant to this area, I mean, I was still young enough to pick my pro teams, so I felt that connection right away.
Yeah,
right away, and it's hard to describe. It's a feeling you get, when the game's on, when the Eagles are on, or the Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, whoever. But especially for me, it's with the Eagles, and just being a part of that family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
true.
It's an unbelievable feeling.
It is.
Rich, what do you got?
My final thoughts. First of all, I loved all the positive shit you guys said because it was great. Mine is not so positive. So I want to give a big shout out and a big fuck you to Brett Favre. That dude is an absolute piece of shit.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
All this fucking bullshit about, I'm pissed at ESPN because ESPN gave Michael Vick with the Dogs, which I'm not saying is equal. What Michael Vick did was wrong. They condemned him. They did everything, and there was constant coverage of Mike Vick. There is not a word being said about Brett Favre. Brett Favre scammed, impoverish the poor and children out of $5 million fucking dollars because he was banging the broad in office. You are a fucking piece of shit, Brett Favre. Everybody wanted to make him out like he was this great guy, and he was this great. He first of all, he was sending dick pics to the Jets reporter, so it shows you he's a scumbag. Second of all, he was taking money from different organizations for speaking. Like he was going to show up and do like speeches. Mm-hmm. The dude never showed up and had to pay back the money because that's the type of guy he is. And then he gets like put on all these fucking bullshit shows. ESPN loves him. Everybody loves him. Brett Favre is a terrible human being. And the fact that you, being as rich and wealthy as you are going to steal $5 million from your community, from the poor and from the children and from the taxpayers and the people who actually need it, that's absolutely despicable.
I mean, not to mention, right, Mississippi is probably one of the poorest states in the United States. So not only are you taking money out of an impoverished community, but you are taking money out of probably one of the country's most impoverished communities.
Like, and to like laugh about it in text messages and all this shit. Like, it's not like, I don't understand why these high profile athletes, instead of giving back or instead of being, they're all douchebags, but it's like this, it's the same fucking thing. Like you see with the professional athletes now with the Deshaun Watson shit. And then you see him with the Mike Vick stuff. Cause I'm not condoning him. I don't give a shit. You did 2.5 years. You fucking hung dogs from your fucking trees in your front yard and then lit them on. Like, you're not a good dude. Like, I don't give a shit. You did your time, but it still doesn't make up for what you actually did. It's pretty heinous. And then you got this jerk off stealing $5 million from his community. Like, come on. Are we like, what day and age are we in that these athletes, retired or not, think this stuff is acceptable? Because it's not right. And I never liked him as a quarterback anyway, but now I just don't even like him as a human.
Yeah.
And I hope he faces jail time. I don't care.
Absolutely. There's no, he should get the book thrown out.
He needs to go to jail because it's just not fair. It's just not right to that community, especially with them in Jackson, Mississippi. They don't even have drinkable water.
Because what would happen to you or I? What would happen to us if we did the same thing?
We'd be gone for fucking life in a federal prison because we fucking stole $5 million.
Yep.
Like, we need to start holding all these people accountable so maybe they get a clue because they have no idea what it is to live in the real world. They don't know how it is to live.
It shouldn't matter status. It should be
no. It just,
everybody.
It blows my mind, dude. And this is why, like, the main reason, like, I hate ESPN. I hate ESPN so much because it's the Kardashians and the Queen and the bullshit. But when it comes down to like actually doing investigative reporting or showing topics that matter, they don't do it because it wants to save their brand. But God forbid LeBron says something that is stupid or that they don't agree with. It's shown all fucking day long. It's just, I'm so glad I don't watch that shit, but it just makes me sad. So Brett Favre, fuck you. You're added to my list of fuck yous at the end of this show.
Yeah, he can go right into the realm with Deshaun Watson.
You're gonna slide right in there, pal.
Here we go, Rich. That's what she said.
That's a good one.
All right, Rich, take us out.
You stuck around, you fucked around, and you found out. Fuck you, Deshaun Watson. Fuck Spike Eskin. Double fuck Brett Favre. We are Drunk on Broad. Thank you for joining us from Don, Jill, and myself. Philly, we love you. Tune in. Please call our hotline.
Oh, wait. Hold on. We got a promo. Call the hotline.
This is the Broad Street Line, where Philly sports fans leave all of their sports hot takes. Don't forget to tune in every Wednesday at 8:30 when we listen to your live reactions to the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat.
Call us, baby.
Call us. If you're going down, right, the Philly Sports Trips is taking a bunch of buses down, call us. Call us on the way down. Call us on the way home. Call us at the game. Call. You see the number going across the bottom.
I want to hear you. I want to hear from you.
We want to hear all the excitement, all the in-game stuff, all the post-game stuff. If you're tailgating in your driveway, at the link, your buddy's house, in the cul-de-sac, backyard, growing up stuff. Yeah, Joe, we will take the porta potty calls.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you're pooping, you give me a call. You're pooping, you give me a call.
267-405-3062. Leave us a message.
That's all. Philly, we love you. We're out.
Go Birds.